it takes work. And let me tell you, it takes a lot of work that doesn't pay you. It takes a lot of work that doesn't give you any visibility. And let's on be honest, it takes a lot of work that's just crap. Do this again and again and again until at one point it starts to reap.
Building in public, like it has literally changed a lot of things. It has definitely given all of us a lot of opportunities.
Opportunities do not open in the similar way, but sometimes people reach out to you for something on a message they would never have if you would not have posted.
Okay, this one feels a little different because Swati is not just a guest. She is someone I've genuinely enjoyed getting to know on LinkedIn. And you know those people, you follow them, and then at some point you're like, wait, this person actually knows what they're talking about. That's Swati for me. She's building in public, she's sharing consistently, she's also doing the real work behind the scenes, which is why I knew I didn't want this to be a super formal episode. I want this to feel like a real conversation about B2B marketing, building in public, AI, product marketing specifically, and honestly, all the stuff we actually think about but don't always say out loud. Swati is a product marketing manager. She's also building her brand in public. And for now, let's dig into this episode. So, welcome to my show, Swati. Finally, welcome to Behind the Brief.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shruti, for me being here. I mean, yes, we are finally doing this. We have talked about it, I don't know for how many times. We are like, we should do this, we should do this. And okay, but we both got some time in our calendars. Thank you so much. It has been lovely to get to know you, your work, and a lot of product marketing assets that I would say that I take from your Notion page or from your Word doc or your Excel. And I'm like, what Shruti is doing, let me just see. So yes, it has been amazing to get to know you.
Thank you so much for all the kind words. That puts a lot of pressure on me to actually keep doing my work. But I'm so glad it's finally happening. And I have to really start from where things actually got real for both of us. So, because I feel like this is how a lot of modern PMM friendships are beginning right now. We have basically seen each other think out loud on LinkedIn before actually sitting down to talk like this, right? So, what has that experience been like for you? Like building your voice in public while you are also doing your PMM work, you're also running so many positioning sprints and doing so much more. So, has anything also surprised you about how people respond to your content?
I would say more people are more supportive than you expect them to be very honest. When you start posting, there is a feeling of hesitation. And one of the biggest barriers on LinkedIn, especially because it's a professional platform, so everyone wants to sound perfect and accurate in a way that it is professionally correct. Now, when you are starting out, anyone who is starting out probably will feel the same. Even it's same for me after being consistent for many, many months, I would say, if not years. I still feel that how much correct is it? And how much I should post and what I can say. Because you cannot talk much about your customers. You cannot talk much about the people you work with. You cannot take real names a lot of the times. And not because they won't like it, but more because not everyone wants to be on LinkedIn and be that professionally active, right? So in that case, when you start posting, you feel very hesitant. It takes some time before you start to do it on a regular basis. And I would say it's the conversations that gives you the confidence, if you mean what I mean. Like, it's like when I talk to you, I posted like, this was a good asset for me. Thank you for sharing this for us, with all of us. And then you were like, Swati, thank you so much for using it or for looking at it. And I was like, but you are also based out in Toronto. How about we meet and talk? So that only could happen because you posted something.
Exactly.
And it only could happen not only with you, but with a lot of people in my professional network, I would say, is because I posted. And somebody was like, this adds value, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Or maybe a new PMM who wants to get in PMM, and then they're like, okay, how can I get in PMM? Like, how do I become part of Product Marketing Alliance? Or how do I start becoming more active? Those conversations, they make you confident with time, but in the starting, it's just like, they're scary. To be like, why? But at some point, when people reach out to you or you build really good network, that's when you start to see the value. It's not upfront.
Well, that's actually true because half of the conversations that we have these days are because we posted something or we saw something that actually aligned with what we are thinking or whatever challenges we are facing right now, right? So I feel whoever comes to me these days for any advice and they are either looking for a job or they are just wanting to network with people, my biggest advice has always been just start posting on LinkedIn or just start being more visible on any platform. Or what career goal do you have? Do you want to get a job or do you want to put a personal brand out there? So you have different channels, you have so many things right now that you can just start creating content. I think the biggest problem we had pre AI was scaling content, creating content, but right now we can actually automate everything.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem right now is distribution, which we can talk later. But I think it's just you have everything in front of you and you can just start building something, start sharing your honest takes about whatever you think is going on in the world. And I think some people who are looking for somebody like you would reach out to you.
Yeah.
I have been networking for the last few years and I've been coming across people that are super supportive, that are super, insightful about whatever I post. So they do share me my own posts and they are like, this is good. If you can improve on this. And then we have a discussion. And when we get on a call, we have a discussion. It's mostly around a lot of topics that I learn as well.
Yes.
Building in public, like, it has literally changed a lot of things. It has definitely given all of us a lot of opportunities, but then connecting with you was also one of the things, right? We just had a call and then it all started. We just started like, it was more personal because we had so many things around Canada that we wanted to talk about, but then PMM was also a part of it. And then we met on PMA, and then things have always been like mostly PMM and then personal life. But I've honestly been super proud of you of what you're building, because long form and short form, just like we discussed the other day, it's not easy. Putting
No.
yourself out there in front of camera is the most difficult thing
Thing to
that
do.
anybody can do.
That's, I would like to add, like, a lot of people think it's with building a personal brand. I would say my biggest learning is it's a mindset problem. And it's not the tools or the asset or the distribution or that problem. Like, if you so tools are just the way to make it easy for you, to be honest. It doesn't mean that people were not building personal brands 10 years ago. They
Exactly.
were through, writing long form content, writing blogs, and even little bit of like doing the kind of we are doing more on LinkedIn or on video content. But people were building personal brands. Like, people were writing books. I would say 500 pages books to
Exactly.
build their personal brand. I can't even imagine writing a 500-word LinkedIn post if I'm starting today, right?
Exactly.
So people were building personal brand, but I think the biggest difference even at that point, which stands true even today, is the mindset that it takes work. And let me tell you, it takes a lot of work that doesn't pay you. It takes a lot of work that doesn't give you any visibility. And let's be honest, it takes a lot of work that's just crap. It's so much craps come out of you before it starts to make sense. And that crap is just so ugly and so messy that you have to, like, it's a process, you have to go through it. And video makes it harder because you have to put yourself in front of camera. So this
Right.
becomes a little trickier. You get conscious of everything. Now you're not only conscious of your thoughts or of your words or of your knowledge, you're also conscious of how you're looking and how you are communicating, which is a layer on top of it.
Exactly.
But tools and AI tools, whatever kind of tools we are using, even if you're using a Word doc, I say that even a Word doc is a great tool. But even if you're using a lot of AI tools like the ones that we are using right now to record this,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you don't feel that cool. I need to sit down and get this done. And this person or this self of myself, which feels so cringe or so crappy about myself, I'm just gonna shut this person in a cupboard and do this again and again and again until at one point it starts to reap. And it genuinely does. Like, after a point where you reach at a level of your own writing that people start to not only comment but refer to your work.
Exactly.
They not only refer but start using your work. Opportunities do not open in the similar way, but sometimes people reach out to you for something on a message they would never have if you would not have posted. There is no way that could have happened because a lot of them are from outside of your circle, and you would not have made better friends, and you would have not found people. Like, I would not have found a lot of people from product marketing in the space that I am in and have those conversations. That can only happen because I post or I try to be more consistent. But the mindset is the hardest thing, I would say, even today for me to manage. And it's something that I would say I have seen everyone, because I don't think anyone cannot, like, almost all of us can use tools. If somebody is listening to this, probably can use tools,
Yeah.
whichever kind it is, basic tech stack they have. It's the mindset that they might be struggling with. And I would say that's going to be the biggest differentiator between people who will succeed on the journey of their career or personal branding and the ones who won't. It's just one of them will take action while the other will be probably not be taking that action. And yeah, so that's I think on from me.
I love that. And I just want to have a follow-up question on this particular thing because I'm curious, like, has building in public or, creating a lot of content, has it changed the way you think your day to day, or like you are running your normal day and then you are like, wait, this could be a post? Or do you have like clear boundaries between sharing and doing? Like, how do you function as a creator and then also as a product marketer?
The space that I am in, I need to draw clear boundaries, to be honest. As we say, the corporate companies or the work full time that I do, you will never find me speaking about that or probably talking about exact inferences. Multiple reasons behind that, but one of the biggest is the industry that I come from is not the one that want a lot to be spoken about.
Exactly.
It's a different industry that I'm in, but it doesn't mean that I cannot build my personal brand. My experiences are limited. No, it doesn't mean that. My work is not limited. If I'm working for, let's say, a more of a content creation kind of business, like a few weeks ago, I was consulting with one of the companies, their content creation platform, Alphas, for LinkedIn only. So I used to write about them. I used to like tag them, and all that used to happen.
Yeah.
So it's just depend that from where you are coming from. Some industries are open, some are not, and there is no right or wrong way. It just depend what kind of work you are in. So I have a clear little bit of boundary how much I take from my personal work. But on the other hand, if there is a problem that I'm solving, and that problem is probably almost everyone faces in their work, then I'll try to speak about it. Then I try to speak about how am I solving it, what could be the potential solutions for it. Nothing wrong or right, and I don't believe in much wrong and right, but the experiments that I'm running and what kind of insights I've had from that. So that I would say is more where I see that, okay, cool, this could be a good content. And then I define boundaries that what can go out and what cannot go out. But yes, it definitely comes from my own experiences.
Absolutely. Now that we talk about a little around product marketing, this is a area where I think we both are super specialists in, and I want to know a little bit more about the AI systems focused product marketer that you call yourself. So, which sounds really cool, but it also sounds a little bit intimidating in the world that we are living right now, which is super fast paced. Everybody is talking about AI. So if we strip the buzzwords away, what does that actually look like in your day to day? Like, are you a traditional PMM with all the AI cool tech stack with you? But how are you actually functioning as a product marketer in 2026? This question is specifically for those who are a little bit scared of talking about AI, using AI in their day to day. But then I also want to discuss a little bit about how you are using AI. Is there any tech stack that you're using, or you are like, what are you doing differently from a traditional PMM in 2026?
In 2026,
Yeah.
I would say that we all are learning.
Yes.
That's the first thing. If somebody is listening to this right now and thinking that because they are being able to do it, they probably know X more. I'm very clear on that. That no, it's majorly around how much we are able to experiment and how much we are able to speak about it. Now, what has changed? I would say I remember that 5 years ago, if I was learning about a product, like whichever product I'm working with, it doesn't matter. I used to take notes because I had to. There was no, and I had to store all the information about the product and the product building, and then what to be spoken about what feature and how, and why are we solving this problem in either in a diary or in my head. It has to be one of those two things.
Right.
And why I'm not saying a Word doc, because even in that case, I'm typing. So I can faster write than type.
Exactly.
And then probably pulling that in a Word doc and writing blogs or writing any kind of like one pagers or any kind of sales deck. At that point was all, not all, but a lot of it was coming from how much depth I have of the product. I don't need to remember every feature release. I don't need to remember every bug fixes on Jira, because that particular information now can be fed to a system. Which system you use, it doesn't matter whether you are using. Most of the enterprises use Claude, but whether you use Claude or you use ChatGPT or you use Gemini, depend what your company use. If you are an independent creator by yourself or a business owner, you probably are using something of ChatGPT or Gemini level. So it just depends at where you are. But now that information can be stored in an agent. That's what has been automated from the thinking part, from the systems part. Now, is that going to go to a blog post? Is that going to go to a battle card? Is that going to go to your website's landing page? That all information can be reaped from the agent that you have built. And why I'm saying that agent, it doesn't mean that I don't know about my product. I still know. But I now know that with one click, I can make a battle card.
Exactly.
Even if it's not one click, I'm going to sit and refine it. But the fact is that Figma can pull that Word doc that I saved, right? It can pull the information from Jira. Now it can also take information from the agent that I'm talking to, and then everything can happen in real time. Whereas a designer that I'm working with, or a tech lead that I'm working with, or product manager I'm working with, they all can feed information in real time. So that's what I would say has changed. And a lot of us are just experimenting. A lot of us, I don't know, it's different for different people, but the product marketers I have talked to, a lot of them have said that they are still at that experimentation phase where they can't trust it completely. They got to sit with it and they got to verify it. Again, and messaging distribution is again something that you probably build a system around, and then the distribution happen, and then you decide, okay, in the distribution these are all the assets that gonna go in, and these are all the places that we are gonna go in, and you build a system around it. But positioning is still something that is human centric, and we still gotta talk to our customers. It just doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Spending more time with our sales team and with our, at least for me, I'm spending more time with my sales team and my customers. It's a human to human interaction to be able to build the positioning and messaging that I want, because I know that I can write more, because I know that I can post more, because I know there are different formats, whether it's audio, video, visual, one pager, pitch deck, it doesn't matter. Chances of creating it or the quantity of creating it has gone up. But the basic understanding of PMM to be able to understand the product and the customer's pain point, it
Still
stands.
human level.
It is still human level, yes.
Right. No, actually, I had weeks of, denial, confusion about my role as a PMM, because now I can set up a Claude agent and it works like me as a product marketer. It thinks like a product marketer like me. So I have been like, weeks have gone by and I'm like, is it doing a better job than I am doing? Like, what's the whole point of me, taking up everything, creating so many things now that I have been using Claude for like ever since I've just ditched ChatGPT right now. But I know for a fact that it's doing a better job in terms of actually gathering everything from the positioning documents, from the messaging documents, and then helping me analyze how we can actually repurpose all of the content that we already have, recreate it, and then distribute it, and how to do it. So now I'm spending more time actually aligning our internal teams about the things that Claude has generated. I just have to make sense out of it and tell them how to actually use it. So I think the way we work as product marketers is changing, but it's just automating the content side of things, the manual side of things, but the strategy and human review are still with us. So I think I still want it to be with us, to be really honest.
That a lot of the information that used to
Yeah.
flow from marketing to sales to customer support, and then single human being going through Power BI and Salesforce and
Yeah.
Power and email. It just used to download 1,000 Excels and try to make them work to make it make sense at the end of the day. That probably has gone down where you are again same thing. You are feeding all that information to your agent, right? I do that with Copilot. You do that with Claude. It just depends where you are using it
Yeah.
and what is used where. But all the information that you used to make sense of, now it's pulled in one agent, and then you ask those questions to agent. You still need to verify it. You still
Absolutely.
need to look into it. A lot of the times it does make mistakes is not the right words, but it does make up some stuff.
Yeah.
So you gotta verify and check it. How much better it does from me, that is like if there are chances of 100 Swatis sitting and her brain working at the same time, is just humanly is impossible. There's only one Swati and there's only one brain. So because every Excel requires one brain.
Absolutely.
Now, yeah, this can do with all the different Excel sheets and all the different positioning and messaging and data that I think data has become such a headache because it's just coming from everywhere and it's not stopping. So
Exactly.
you have to make sense of that. And that was the hardest piece, at least for me, to be able to crack, which the tools are helping me to be able to crack, if I can say that in a more simpler way. But who is still sitting and writing that positioning doc or a messaging doc? The core of it, it is still me to some point.
Yeah.
That's
It
still
should be. I hope it stays the same. But no, I'm actually betting on it that even though there are going to be many tools, maybe they're bringing more tools that are focused around PMMs and solving their biggest pain points. But I think with all of that coming in, it's still the baseline is still, it has to still make sense. You can scale your content, you can keep creating, automating your content that you're building, but it has to still make sense, but it also has to hit the revenue marks. So,
yeah.
my next question to you is that you have actually worked on scaling from $50 million to 90 million ARR portfolios. So, I want to get the real piece of cake here. Like, what are the things PMMs think that drive growth, and but they actually don't? Like, creating a messaging document is not directly linked to revenue, and that has been the bone of contention for all the teams, all the stakeholders. Like, we have created the messaging document, how is it relevant, how are you actually making sense of it? So what are the things that you think are less obvious that we do but that make the most impact?
I was talking to someone about the same thing where that person had asked the question, and question was very simple, that it's hard for PMM to directly align their work to revenue and to numbers, and it becomes a challenge. And it's my personal experience again, because humans are biased and my experiences come from my biases. But if I can talk to B2B SaaS enterprise level companies, that's the one that I'm talking about. PMMs have the higher chance to show their work with revenue compared to any other like B2C or B2B, but not exactly SaaS company. But in B2B SaaS enterprise grade, it is possible. It is possible because we have a sales team there.
Hmm.
A lot of the times people think that positioning, it's hard. It's because it is hard. See, positioning and messaging docs simply means that what's going to go on website, what's going to go on your one pages, your blogs, your any kind of writing, product documentation releases, front facing, customer facing. And it's impossible to trace them because then digital marketing and content marketing and demand gen is also tracking the same metrics that product marketing is.
Exactly.
Right. And you ended up writing the positioning deck or a positioning document, and everyone wrote a blog from that. And now those blogs are getting impressions, but nobody's talking about your positioning deck that you prepared because it's harder. There are so many different teams in the marketing department that tracks their metrics from the work that product marketing does, that it becomes harder to align revenue.
Right.
But the easiest for me, or what I have observed throughout my career, is the sales team. Because at the enterprise grade, nobody is buying from the website. There is a full-fledged sales cycle going on. And that's when product marketing becomes that engine which fastens the seatbelt or increases the revenue for the sales team. Say, how good is the company's sales team directly proportional to how good or how solid their product marketing is? Because salespeople don't have time. They're the busiest people in the company and the most valued people in the company for all the good reasons. Now they need everything to close a deal. From an email cadence, very simple, one liner email, which should have positioning and messaging, to their battle cards, to their decks, to their training, to their assets, from where that whole work is done by product marketing. If your sales numbers are going up and salespeople are closing faster, they are closing better, they're having clear communication about the product, and they can talk confidently while having those conversations, it means that your product marketing team is solid and it knows what it is doing. That's how I look at my job. I make sure that wherever I am or whatever I'm doing, my sales team has everything that they have asked for, because the better they get at selling and the faster they get at selling, they are getting everything from product marketing, their training to their enablement to their comp analysis to their battle cards to everything, they get it from product marketing. And the better they sell, the better I can defend my job, to be honest.
Yeah,
They can't
absolutely.
even send an email if I don't write it correctly, because they need to target the exact thing that they need. And that in majority of the enterprise grade companies come from product marketing. The 50% of the work of product marketing is just making sure that the sales team is happy and sales team is closing faster. That's where your numbers come from. Whereas on the other hand, the positioning, the messaging, the blog, the website, the go to market, the launches, all the content that product marketing is creating, it's not impossible to track, but because there are so many different marketing teams eating up the share of product marketing, there is a whole content marketing team writing the same thing that product
Exactly.
marketing has written. Becomes harder to track it to revenue. And if even if I want to, I mean, sorry, nobody's working individual, all of us work together,
Exactly.
nobody is better than the other, you are a team, everyone is at the same goal. So it's hard to show that on the website. It's faster and easier to show that in a sales deck, how good of your work is. So that's my suggestion to all the product marketers, that please focus on your work with the sales enablement and the go to market enablement. That is going to change your life, and it will give you a depth of the product which is beyond, because how much you can write on website, there is only limited, right? Everyone wants to write in 5 words, 3 words for CTA, like it has to be like crisp and clear. But when you are doing sales trainings and you are enabling a sales team, you can go deep in your product. You can understand the things that you could never if you were not doing enablement. So enablement makes your work, I would say, like the cherry on the top. The better your sales team is, I'm telling you, it just becomes easier and faster and smooth for the enterprise grade companies as a product marketer, my life. And that's what I focus on, because that helps me to understand market, product, solutions, everything in depth, and kind of like help me become an expert on that. Yeah.
I love that because you just made it sound so idealistic because that's what all the product marketers, even from, you know, I belong to a very messy startup ecosystem and it's a very idealistic world for me, to be really honest, because I have to constantly define whatever, the ROI, what is it? What are numbers? Where are the numbers? If we have changed the website and positioning on website, then we have to like track the conversion rate. We have to track all the landing pages that we are building. It's a very messy world, to be really honest. And what you have just said makes so much sense because that's what exactly a product marketer's job is to do, to enable the sales team who are the first client facing team ever, and they will always be like they are the ones closing the deals and you have to make sure they have everything. So
Yeah.
that's like it. Even to me when you were talking, it still feels super idealistic to me because I am from a very different world, very startup, very
Yeah, but
messy.
from my own personal work, it's not same. But that's the reason I said that I come from the bias of B2B enterprise
Yeah.
SaaS. That's how it is. But for a startup, for my own work, no, I cannot do that. But then on the other hand, if I'm the salesperson for my own personal brand, then I gotta know what I'm selling. So I gotta understand the sales. Before I understand the sales, I have to understand everything. Everything. And the principles remains the same whether you are for a startup, because I don't know your environment, but there are somebody who's trying to sell. It just doesn't matter who that person is. Maybe you don't have a sales team, but the marketing people are the ones who are doing 35% or 25% of the time sales. The founder is doing sales. Sales is the core. Everyone is selling. Uh, that's true for everyone who's generating revenue. So you are then coaching yourself. You are
Right.
your own product.
Now I want to actually switch gears to come back to the personal branding and building in public kind of topics, because that's still some of the things that really excite me about is that you are, if you're building your own personal brand, you are the biggest cheerleader. And now that you have added in the word sales, you are doing your own sales, right? You are in front of the camera. So how has it been like we talked about opportunities, it gives us many. We talked about visibility, but then on a personal level, like you have to have a really solid why to actually be building and, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone almost every day and sitting in front of camera. How do you do that? And what's your biggest why, if you can share it with everyone?
Yeah, I ran my own thing for more than 2 years, and it is really, like, I would say, the hardest thing that I've done, the hardest thing that I have had to accept with myself as well. And as you're saying that, um, that what keeps you motivated, like what keeps you motivated, I would say the there is only one way, that you have to accept that it is all going to look very messy, it is all going to look crappy, because I do some parts of social media as well, I do on LinkedIn as well. It's just I at multiple different places I am trying to create content, and not a close to what people call success in any way, at least in number metrics, not. But have I not gotten opportunities because of that? The answer is yes, I have gotten opportunities because of that. Now, but not the number that you could have imagined or I could have imagined with myself. So it is a constant practice of accepting that this is what it is. It's just okay. And the negative side of yours, probably keep it in the cupboard when you're working and then sleep with it at a night. Some good people don't even sleep with it at night. They can just keep it in the cupboard for like 6 months or something. But for me, it's like probably when I'm sitting in front of my computer, when I am building my own brand and when I'm talking about my own brand, at that time, I'm like, I changed one of the things when I started recording was it was really hard for me to record myself because the way we scrutinize ourselves when we see ourselves on camera. True for me, just like any other human being, I started to see things that I never saw in myself and wasn't very comfortable recording as well. And then speaking, and then phonetics, and then words, and my vocabulary and my pronunciation, everything, like things that I never thought was a problem started to become a problem when I started creating content. But one day, I don't know, randomly I thought that what if somebody else is doing that? How will I behave with that person?
Yeah.
And that shift changed the way I create content now. So I create content and then I look at it from the lens, what if my sister or my best friend is doing it? How am I going to behave then? I am telling you, I am much more kinder to them for just trying, number one.
Yeah.
And I'm much more of a cheerleader for them just doing what they want to do. And that's what I'm trying to become. So I try to zoom out and look at everything, every piece of content, whether it's video, audio,
Mhm.
post, everything. Even if it's a mistake, even if it feels like, oh shit, I said that. It doesn't matter. I just think, what if my sister or my best friend has done this? Then what will I do? And most of the times the answer is, oh, I would have still said that you said that on camera, you know? So I just started to try to do that to myself, that don't look at yourself as yourself, to look at yourself as a loved one. And for that,
I love that.
it just changes the whole personality. Like it just changes your view of yourself or of your content. You become kinder to yourself because humans are kinder to other people than they are to, like, we self scrutinize a lot, but we don't do that to people we love. We don't do that in general to people even we don't know. Like somebody on social media started posting, somebody on LinkedIn started writing. We will go on and cheer, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
me as well. I'll probably reshare and comment just for like making sure that the person feels happy. Won't do that for myself. Why? So that's the shift with personal branding that I would say, if it helps for what it is.
Mhm.
But yes, if that's the problem that you're having, that you're scrutinizing yourself, just think that your loved one is doing that, not you. And now think how you will support, and just support yourself the same way.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
I think I'm going to use this little hack for myself as well because I feel nobody in the room criticizes the most than I do. Of
Yeah.
my work, how I speak, how I smile, or how I'm just talking in front of even my podcast. It took
Yeah.
a while to actually post my first video, and I still can't look at it. That
Yeah.
that 1.5-year-old Shruti still can't look at the first video that I put out on YouTube, but it's still there, and I stopped looking at it. I stopped because I used to criticize a lot. And I was like, if I keep doing that, I'm not going to move. I'm not going to post any video. And I still fall into that rabbit hole. I still think a lot about these things. But yeah, I think we are our own biggest critics
Biggest
out
critic.
there. And I think we should be kind to ourselves as well.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we are. There is one of the other things that I started to do a few months ago. If that helps anyone, start reading books on human behaviors and psychology. And then everything you do, like everything in life, when you start reading those books, like researchers did so much research to actually find out that humans behave like this. Everything that you do is a normal human behavior. Once it's easy for me to say, Shruti, I do the same thing. If you will read a book and that has like research backed that humans do the same thing, like everyone does the same thing,
Right.
you start to look at, it's not my behavior, it's human behavior. I just gotta make sure that it works in my favor, not criticize myself. Or a lot of the things that I like, procrastination.
Hmm.
I used to feel bad to be a procrastinator, like a really bad to be a procrastinator, until I read a research on how most of the humans are procrastinators. And then I was like, cool, everyone is. I don't have to just be critic of it. I just have to change the habit. And if I fall on the criteria, like if I fall back on being a procrastinator for a week or for a month on something, then cool. It's not about you. You are not bad. It is happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Just pick it today. Just get it done today. I would say, yeah. Yeah. The psychology books really, really help in that
Right.
way to think. Yeah.
I actually love that because we like I struggle with consistency. I talk about it a lot. I think I still post on LinkedIn consistently, but the podcast, everything that I create, I have so many different plans on different platforms as well, and I think that happens with so many of us right now. I think with content creation becoming so easy and almost everybody is opting it as a like their full time and skipping their full time doing this full time, like what's your hack to kill consistency? Like one thing that you are just like, I don't want excuses. I'll just get on with it. Because there are so many people, especially PMMs that I've seen, they are the most entrepreneur mindset focused people and they have something of their own going on in the background. They're building something. They're either writing something or they're building an app or something like that. But
Yeah.
they're building. So what would you say to them to beat consistency and to beat the noise that is out there with so much content going on? Like how to be unique and how to beat the problem of consistency right now.
Meet the problem of consistency. I don't think I have answer to that question. If I haven't met anyone who has the answer to that question. I've only seen very successful people talking about it. That's it. I have never met anyone who hasn't said to me that, I am not consistent. I would love to meet a person who has said that I am very consistent. I get shit done by the end of the day. So, but there is one, at least with content creation, because content creation is becoming common, more and more common, and it will become more and more common because of the tools. Editing used to take so much time. Now it takes comparatively less. We are also coming up with a lot of tools where you can just chat. I mean, they're not great enough, but still we are reaching at a level where you can just chat and edit. At some point, I can see it's happening like seamlessly. So content creation is becoming kind of mainstream. I don't know how many of us want to, but it is becoming something that we need to. It has been normalized into our lives, and creating your personal brand, creating content, talking about stuff, which is very hard if you're an introvert or if you are somebody who lives like who doesn't want to be in front of a lot of people. And it's a very fair choice if you don't want to be. But it is becoming just so common to have a personal brand and build that visibility. And it gives opportunities and it creates and opens the doors that everyone want to do it. So cool. How to make it comparatively easier If you will ask me, use whatever tool you want to use. It's your choice. If you're old school, use a Word doc. If you're like much, write down with a pen and paper. I do
Much
not.
older.
Yeah, if you're like me, 90s born, just use pen and paper. If you're somebody who is just like born 10 years ago, you have better tools that I'm not aware of. But I love Notion actually. So I use Notion a lot for my work tracking, my personal branding tracking. But just it doesn't. I am not a. I am a big fan of learning tools, but I'm not a big fan of having every tool. I really like to learn one tool in depth and learning 10 tools, just getting, because once you learn one of them, most of the tools kind of work and at least a lot of the UI designers and product marketers and product managers out there trying to make tools simple. They are not trying to make them difficult. They want customer or users to just being able to find things.
Exactly.
So I really believe in learning one thing in deep, then learning a lot of things just on the surface level. It doesn't matter what you're using, write it down, just get done with it. Which is what cadence you're going to use. Like you're going to post 2 times a week, you're going to post 3 times a week. Okay, cool. Write it in a Word doc. Write it and talk to it with the AI agent you're using, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, Perplexity, your choice. One is better than other. That is true, but only when you know how to use the one.
Right.
Otherwise, none is better than anyone, to be honest. So don't worry too much about from the day one that I gotta pick the perfect. You gotta pick one tool. That's it. Feed information. Like how many times a week you wanna post? What are the things you wanna post about? If you like a post, feed that information, right? What the thoughts you liked, link to that Substack. These are my thoughts. This is what I think. Train that model. If you are a little bit like me, use a pen and paper. Sometimes I just write in my diary because I don't carry my phone. I'm still that kind of like, if I'm going on a long walk or sitting outside near the water, I won't carry my phone. I don't carry my laptop. I just carry a pen and paper. And if some thought comes in, I write it down. And then later on, I come take a picture, send it to Copilot and send it to Perplexity. It just depend what I'm using. Not a big chat GPT fan, but okay. It just doesn't matter how you're doing it, but write it down. I fight with people for writing things down. It's the hardest thing in creativity. Writing, if you want to write and if you want to create content, if you have a script ready, your chances of recording it goes higher. If you have a theme ready, your
Yeah.
chances of posting a LinkedIn post are higher. If you do not if everything is in your head now, then it feels like I can do it. Yes, you can. I mean, nobody is stopping you. The hardest thing is to write it down. What's in your mind, what's in your head, to put it on a paper, put it on a doc, put it on an agent. It just doesn't matter. Hardest thing. And I have seen that with myself. If I have a script ready, probably I'll record it. If I have booked time with someone, then I'll do that podcast.
Exactly.
That is not done. If I don't have a theme, if I don't know what kind of things I'm going to talk about, if I have not written the problems that I came across today and the solutions that I did in my work this week, or I met an interesting person but didn't write in even a notepad, the document, the pointers,
Yeah.
I have nothing to talk when I'm sitting on LinkedIn and writing.
That's a big thing, actually.
Yeah, maybe like the most ancient method after, I don't know, learning
Still
everything
very
from
effective.
listening to words, write that down. Keep it like on a paper, on a doc, on an agent. It just doesn't matter which one you use or which generation you use. What's your favorite style? It doesn't matter. But yes, that's life changing if you want to create content, is have ideas at some place and not on the spiral that I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do that. Oh God, I'll come back. I'll do. It's a spiral. I'm sorry, you have monkey brain. Can't help it.
Exactly. I think that's what matters, right? Like you have the mediums, but it's just a matter of time. And I was struggling a lot with even writing my thoughts out.
Yeah.
I read this book, which is Eat the Frog. Eat that frog or eat the frog. I think it's one thing, but it just talks about doing the hardest thing of your day early in the morning.
Yes.
So I think we all can take some of the insights from that and actually get
Yes.
going. If you are a creator, not even if you're a creator, if you're doing your day-to-day PMM work, if there's some things that you really want to try, write it out, get it out of your system, and then see something will happen to it, and you'll make sure you'll be able to put it across, and it will make start making sense.
Yeah. So the most the people you look up to in your professional career, doesn't matter that you are yourself a founder or you're working, it just doesn't matter. People you will look up to probably are the ones that you will look up and think, how do they think? How are they so clear? And let me tell you, most of them are so clear because they have noted it down somewhere and it's not their brain's full time work.
Yeah.
Pressure about it. They have clear system thinking because they have built that system on a paper or on a Canva. It just doesn't matter where. But they have used Miro. They have probably used any of the Microsoft tool. It just doesn't matter. Or maybe they are old school. They are using a pen and paper. I have met amazing designers who still use pen and paper before they go on Figma or before they start designing. So system designing, that you break down everything and architecture, it happens and then your brain becomes clear. And then when I look up to these people, I'm like, how do they have this clarity? And they have that because they have that habit of writing things down. Negate everything that doesn't serve it. But even before knowing that what to negate, you gotta write it down so that you know,
Exactly.
okay, this is not a bad. Come back to it a day after that and then think, okay, this is not. It's a process, but then how fundamentally it is a process that we were using 10 years ago. The beauty is that you don't have to now remember and do it all by yourself. Yeah, but fundamentals remain the same. It just doesn't matter. But you don't have to do it. A lot of the times your agent can do a lot of the things. And a lot of the time your agent will negate a lot of the things. They'll say,
Exactly.
no, this is not going to work. This didn't work last time. So you don't even need to remember that. So that's the beauty of tools. That's how I see most of the tools. But the fundamental part remains same, that up until this point there is no pen drive to go in my brain. At some point might be, but not today.
Not today. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think I feel like we both know people who are really good at what they do. So this question is specifically for them, but they're like completely invisible. They are in the mindset that they don't need to post, or they are very adamant about not being cringe on LinkedIn, or, they are very adamant that their work will speak for themselves and they don't have to post, they don't have to become a creator. I think you know what I mean, right? Like the mindset that is keeping people short of opportunities right now. So do you think, like, do you agree with that? Like, not everybody has to post on LinkedIn, or like everybody has to post on LinkedIn? Look, is your
Not everybody has to post. Honestly, I'm being a creator who builds my personal brand. Know a lot of people who have done much better and want to do much better. Does everyone have to post? I mean, if somebody doesn't want to post, who am I to decide that they should or they should not? To be honest, it's just as simple as that. Everyone is comfortable as well. It takes, because it takes courage. It takes a lot of cringiness. I was saying the one that I was talking in the starting, that
yeah,
mindset becomes a problem, right? It's just so messy. You might have 10 years or 20 years of experience and such an expert. And the moment you write 2 lines on LinkedIn is just such rubbish. And it's not rubbish because of you. It's just that for the first time you are writing on this platform. So it's a skill that you need to learn. And I'm sorry if I'm a really good dancer and I start to sing, but I'll be a bad singer in the starting. But as a great dancer myself, I feel so bad that why am I doing that to myself? Especially people who have expertise, and expertise in the sense that they have worked in an industry for 20 years, for 25 years, for 15 years. They have nobody can take that expertise from them. They genuinely have that. They never had to sell that expertise. So they're not salespeople, they're not marketing people, right? And if I tell them to do something which is super simple, write about your experiences, talk about the things that where you failed, it doesn't mean that they don't have stories. They do have, but it's a part of storytelling that they are scared to learn. Or because when they will try in the starting, it is going to be hard and it is going to be crappy. And probably it will flop many more times before it will start to shine.
right.
So it's a human behavior. It's
Yeah,
post and to get out of comfort zone. The answer to that question is yes. Not everyone have to do that. But if somebody asks me that should I do that, my answer will be why not?
why not?
You
Yeah,
can, right? Just if you feel this is too much of a crap after 4 months, delete everything. Nobody like you can delete it. I know that LinkedIn will not delete all the data, but at least people won't see it on your profile. So
right.
don't worry. You don't like something, something doesn't make sense, or something didn't land the way you want it to land, you can hide it, you can delete it, and then you can take it from there. So everyone should try it once, I would say, because there are two things that fundamentally changes you as a person. Number one, you start to, as you were talking about it earlier, that, I ramble about my experience. And I used to do that, still do that a lot of the times, and interviews and that kind of stuff. Once you start to talk about stuff, a lot of the stuff you have to talk about because you have this memory back in the background. And that's, I think, is the fundamentally most interesting thing that has happened from my posting career, from my
Right.
LinkedIn post, that I know what I have done, and a lot of it is in public. Because of that, I have a lot of information to back it. Now, because I can speak better, right? I can back a lot of my work with information, with data, with other people because they worked with me, so they can talk about me. So that's the one thing, that the more you will write, the more you will put yourself out there, the better you will become in communicating about the stuff that you need to communicate. So that's the one part. Number two, if you really learn the art of storytelling with the work that you do, I am sorry, you will pay to listen to someone in your industry who has the insights that changes your career trajectory. People will pay, and it's not only monetary. People will pay for like things that you don't expect. And
Right.
I'm sorry, we live in a corporate world, so you gotta make money. Maybe at some point of time, you are not dependent on one source of income, and it kind of makes more sources of income for you. So it solves that problem as well, where you start to work with brands, you start to work with people, you start to share your expertise, because the art of storytelling isn't going anywhere. Again, the art of storytelling is thousands years old. It doesn't matter which AI tool is coming. If you learn the art of storytelling and to talk, like, you will pay somebody. Like, I would pay a really good product marketer to tell me on the things that I'm stuck.
Mhm.
Like Marketing Alliance, right? Not only that I follow them, but also a lot of the times I need their help in the work that I'm doing. So we all need resources, we all need people, we all need conversations. Become the person, especially if you have expertise, especially. If you have that 15, 20 years of, I mean, honestly, what are you waiting for? This is your time, I would say.
Yeah. No, actually, I agree with all of it because I've seen really great people having zero visibility. And we have been working with a lot of the founders who are building so much better and cooler products in 2026 that are actually solving the real problems that
Yeah.
I feel like we need to tell better stories.
Don't worry too much about in which direction it might go. Like, what if I start posting and it doesn't go as success?
What's the worst that will happen?
Yes. I mean, I'm sorry you started 20 years ago as an intern and see where you are. It's a path, right? So don't worry too much about negative. Only don't be the mother who calls the kids at the end of the day that they're not dead just because they're out of the house. Don't be that person. Because it's a very common mother phenomena. But be the mom who's like, cool, you can do this. I am there for you, and be there for yourself. But yes, people with much more experience have less visibility, and then I also feel bad. I'm like, it was enlightening talking to you. Yes, I think again, the art of storytelling is it's an old concept. It's, I don't know, as old as humans are. So don't worry too much about what's going on in today's world. Worry more about what are your expertise that even today's generation is facing. Like somebody who's joined workforce today is facing the same problem that I faced 7 years ago. What are those problems? That's it. And if you can solve that, I mean, I would love to listen to someone who is at my level, like were at my level 10 years ago. What were the mistakes? What were the good things? What were the opportunities? How did they became the VP or the director or the CMO? Wherever in marketing, at least in product marketing, they are. So that's needed to be passed down. A lot of the information needs to be passed down as well. So, yeah.
If you had to build or restart your career today again with same skills, same experience, but zero visibility online, what would you do in the first 90 days or maybe 30 if you had to rebuild your career?
So, rebuilding my career is different than finding a job. And I would like to make that very clear here. Rebuilding your career means that you have time. And time doesn't mean 30 days. I mean, there is no clock that you gotta have an offer letter in 30 days.
Absolutely.
When you don't have that clock, it gives you an opportunity to reach out to people and have conversations without looking for something in return. Something means job. And now that's where I draw a very clear line. If you're looking for a job, this advice might not work for you, because you asked me the question that how to rebuild my career in 30 days. First, I probably, if this with this knowledge, because I have it today, right? So I expect that I still have that knowledge of how personal branding, how much is it important. So I will, first thing I'll do, I probably will become much more active on LinkedIn. When I say much more active on LinkedIn, I will try to find out 2 to 3 themes that I'm comfortable in talking. And out of those 2 to 3, one theme has to be in the direction I want to go. Two could be where I have knowledge, and one is where I don't have much knowledge, but I want to go in that direction. And then reaching out to the people who are in the similar direction and having conversations with them. Because I think I have learned a lot through conversations than I have from actually like completing the project. Because when you are completing a project has very clear milestones that you're trying to achieve. A blog has a clear milestone, a battle card has a clear milestone. Conversations don't have clear milestones. And if you're not looking for anything in return except advice, then you can go in any direction. Then you can, like, as a product marketing, if somebody starts talking to me about product marketing, cool. But if they go to digital marketing and they go to personal branding and they go to then start selling on Shopify and creating, can you see there is the branches, there is no one thing. So that gives you so much content and so much understanding of how work happens. And then from those conversations, you can, I would say, build a personal connection with people who are in the direction you want to go, and then build your content cadence around it. So posting definitely will be one of the most important thing. But if I know that I'm not looking for an opportunity in that company, my conversations will be much more value based. And I believe in the value based one-to-one conversations a lot. So that's something that I would like to do. Third thing is, I will say that anyone, whether you are a tech person or a non-tech person, it doesn't matter. A lot of the times marketers especially, they have conversation and they say that I'm not a technical person or I'm not an engineer like you, and then it becomes harder. I'm sorry, we live in the world where YouTube exists. Be thankful. Half of the engineers like us who are in marketing or who are in operations and who are in finance don't remember much of engineering. It's just that our brains are probably now expert in a way where we end up Google everything. We can Google everything. So do not be hesitate to learn tools. That's the reason I'm not even a big person like learn this tool, learn that, have 10 tools stack as well, because learning tool has become easier. With the AI tools coming in, you can ask direct questions. You can go on YouTube, you can watch all the videos. Most of the learning basic tools have even free courses. You can get learning tools, and building that tech stack is so important, and it's just so basic as well. So learn it. Don't worry too much about that, is this a right thing? Pick one software, learn it in depth. One sales software, one marketing software, one email marketing. It doesn't matter that you learned Pardot or you learned MailChimp. Starting, you learned a software. And then if you learned one, you can pick others. And it just blows my mind now. 5 years ago, I used to get so scared. I don't know this, I don't know that. And I have, like, over the years I've learned, I don't need to know all of them.
Exactly.
I just need to know one of them so good that either I run my system on that, or because of that knowledge, I pick another one. And then I easily like take some time and translate that.
Right.
So find out your tech stack. What is the most important tech stack in your domain, in your expertise, wherever you are, and start learning the top 3 or top 5 tools and learn them in depth. Because once you know that, you can learn others as well. It's not rocket science. It's not the most difficult things out there. And honestly, a lot of product marketers or marketing managers are putting a lot of effort to make UI simpler. So, I mean, yes. So these are like 3, 4 things that I'll do. Learn as many important softwares as I can in depth. Talk about my technical expertise, my storytelling, and then posting about the problems, the solutions. And then third is to reaching out to the people in the direction I want to go. Won't be scared to even reach out to a CEO. I could not have done that 3 years ago or 4 years ago. Today, I'm not scared to reach anyone. I'll be like, what the max gonna happen? They're gonna not see my message. Cool. but what if they see and what if they reply? So yes, so talk to as many people as you can,
Right.
and something will open up. If you can meet in person, then that's like perfect. It just depends where you are living, but
No, I think that's great advice, and people listening to would and surely should be able to get some hacks that Swati you have shared today. And this conversation has literally felt like what I was actually hoping for. So thank you so much for your time on spending almost an hour of us just talking about so many different tangents. And to be really honest, it felt very nice and a lot of things that I think people needed to hear to maybe they are overcoming some critique that they hold for themselves, or if they want to start content creation they can start content creation. So thank you so much, Swati, for being so raw and real about your journey and your experiences as a builder in public and also a product marketer. And for everyone listening, if there's one thing to take away from this is being good at your work is no longer enough if nobody is seeing it. So
yes,
you can come find us on LinkedIn. We are pretty much active there.
yes.
And we'll be able to tell you more good stuff on building in public. So until next time, be curious, stay honest, and keep going behind the brief. So thank you so much, Swati, for your time today.
Thank you so much, Shruti. It was lovely talking to you.